welcome to the second video where we're going to be looking at mood boards. This sort of follows on from the first video, so if you haven't already watched the first video on mind maps, have a look at that one because this one might make a little bit more sense to you. The first thing I'm going to do before I get into how to create a mood board is I'm going to show you some examples of ones, and these are ones that I showed you the examples of the mind map. So I'm going to do a little look at a title page as well. I'm not going to do a video on title pages unless people kind of really want one, but I'll show you some examples of title pages, the mind map and the mood board, so it kind of makes sense, and I'll show you how you can get a really good start on creating a good mood board. So these were some of the mind maps that I showed you from the previous video. So this one, it says Lucid Dreams. This is their title page, and this was their mind map that I showed you before. And then what they've actually done with their mood board is they've given it a little title, and then they've also separated each section of their mood board into keywords using PowerPoint. So they've picked out insecurities as one of their keywords from the mind map. Whoop. And they've made a very brief mood board there with just 2 pictures, which is absolutely fine. And then they've got vulnerability and flying. And this was something that the student found when they were looking into dreams and what the meaning of dreams were. So if you had a dream where you were flying, or you had a dream where you were late for something, it might mean some of these words, in case you're wondering why these words are in there. But dreams where you're falling, nightmares, and that's all they've got there, and that's absolutely fine for their mood board. Something to kind of get you inspired. And this is an art project, so their title was War Torn, and that's their mind map there. And they sort of knew the artist that they were looking at here, so they knew they wanted to look at Irving Penn, and they knew they wanted to look at monochromatic photography, and they also knew that they wanted to look at Robert Capa, who is a World War II photographer, and photographed the D-Day landings, which is some amazing photographs if you ever get a chance to look at those. So that's their mood board there. And then you may remember I showed you a mind map just to do with the word black. So this is their title page for black, and they actually did one mind map here and another one which is a sort of stereotype of the word black, which was kind of what they were looking at. And they've gone straight into their artist research, but you can see there are some examples of photographs here with a little bit of research around it. But you don't have to your mood board doesn't just have to be images, it can be a little bit of writing that goes around it. This was the Life Behind the Plastic title page, and also their mind map. And then their mood board, they've actually split into several parts and focused it on specific photographers that they really liked. And they're all labelled underneath there for you to have a little look at. And they've numbered them as well, so that they can talk about which photographs they're going to use just by numbering them, rather than in the photograph in the top left in the middle section of my sketchbook. So numbering them makes a bit more sense. Okay, so there's a mood board part 2 and a mood board part 1. Don't worry about the artist research, that'll be in a separate video. We're just literally going to look at mood boards. This was the project that had the mind map that was done digitally. I think, like I said, I think they used a website to do their mind map on, and then they've made a mood board here, which, I mean, some of the photographs are quite sort of bright and cheerful, and others are a little bit darker, and that's okay, because it kind of works. The sort of style, if you sort of look at the style of the photographs, they sort of have this kind of Instagram sort of quality about them, where the colours are either saturated or desaturated in some way, and the contrast is quite high on some of these photographs. So that's that mood board there. And then the last one I'm going to show you is this one. This is an entomology project, a sort of study of insects and animals and that sort of thing. They've primarily focused on insects. That's their mind map. And then their mood board, they've got one here kind of looking at macro photography, and another one here where they sort of look at more flowers and that sort of thing, landscapes, that kind of thing. So there we go, there are some examples of mood boards. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut to a computer, and I'm going to show you how to search. It might sound really silly. You might be like, well, Graham, I know how to do this. I know how to use the internet and search. Okay, you might do, but I'm going to give you some tips on how to find the images that you need, and also what to do with those images, because it's all very well finding them, but what's the best way to present them? How do you actually make something like this? Okay, so I'll meet you in the next video. I don't know why I did that. Okay, so I've got Google up and ready, and I also have my keywords here. I'm just going to pop those up there. I may well move those. That might be a really bad place to put them for the minute, but I'm just going to put those there. And then once you get the gist of it, I'll take them down. But this should be quite a quick process initially to sort of get some images. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to type in one of these keywords here into Google, and then I'm going to put the word photography. So I'm going to start off with the word control. And already this is a bad idea. So let's move that. Let's move that over this side. That might make more sense. Okay. Control and photography. There. And let's see what we get. Now, oh, there's some very interesting images here. As soon as you find something that you like that sort of fits your overall theme, if you've got a definite theme, then you can pick it and then copy and paste it either into a Word document or a PowerPoint. I'm going to put mine into a PowerPoint. I'll come to that later, but essentially the first thing we need to do is go to Images and have a look here and see what we've got. Ooh, I like this one very much. Although it does have a watermark. I don't know if you can see here, but watermarks appear on photographs to stop people from copying them or using them without the owner's permission. So I'm just going to take that one for the minute. So I'm going to copy that, and I've got PowerPoint open here. I'm just going to paste that in there. Okay, that's absolutely massive. Let's just reduce that there, just put that there. Then the other thing that you'll need to do as you go is do one of two things. Either put the name of the website that you found it. So this one says dreamstime.com. Please work, don't be filtered. Please work, don't be filtered. It's loading, it's loading, it's loading, it's loading. Oh, here we go. Mind control, stock photographs. Okay, right, so these are all stock images. Now these are fine for ideas. And in fact, do you know what? I really like a lot of these. No, go away. I really like a lot of these. So I'm going to... they've all got a watermark on them. I'm not going to use those with a watermark because it doesn't look very nice on your mood board. However, let's scroll down. So one thing that you'll find when you do find an image you like is you scroll down with Google and it'll give you some associated images, and hopefully you'll find something there that doesn't have a watermark on it that you can use. So here's one here. Okay, so this one's kind of cool. I'm going to copy this one. I'm going to put this one in here. And this will be a sort of an image I can use, but I need to find, first of all, I need to find where it's come from. Okay, it's come from Pinterest. Pinterest can be a tricky thing. Quite often it doesn't tell you where the image comes from. The reason why it's important is because when we come to doing our artist research, we need to know the name of the artist so that we can reference it. If you've tried your hardest to find the name of the artist and you can't, that's okay, as long as you can find at least one image that is similar, that has an artist reference to it, and then you can kind of have some other images that are related to it. That's okay, but you want to try and find one. Pinterest is hard because a lot of people pin something from somewhere else and then it doesn't get a mention. This looks like it's been done in several different ways here. Okay, I mean this could be very hard to find the original photographer, so I'm just going to leave that one for the minute.
And then I'll see what else is on here. Yeah, these are all kind of very, very similar. This one's cool. I like this one. So she's kind of up on strings. Now, some of my original ideas with this were to do with controlling an avatar in computer games. So I quite like that. She sort of looks a little bit like Harley Quinn, which is kind of cool. Oh. So I think, let's see if I can, oh, there's a name on here. Ah, brilliant. Okay, Jace K, original Stefan Jessel photography. Right, okay. So, brilliant. So I've got one here. Let's get rid of this one. Let's pop this on here. Make it a bit smaller. And then I can grab the name of the photographer there. Copy that. And I'll just paste that in there. Bring that down to the bottom. Put that over there. Okay, so we've got the name of the photographer. It just looks an awful lot better if you've got the name underneath. And then I'm going to just sort of shrink that so it's the same. One of the best things about using PowerPoint is it automatically, can you see the little lines there? It sort of shapes things to the right size, which is really cool. I also, because I've used the keyword of control, I'm going to put that in. I'm well aware of the fact you can't see it. Let's move that over there. Make that a bit smaller. Pop that up there. And then let's find one more picture that uses the word control. Controlling people. That's very interesting. The other thing you can do, if you're not having an awful lot of luck with the word you've used, is you can type in fine art as well. I've used capital letters. I'm shouting it. And sometimes you'll get a different sort of set of results. Ooh, this one's quite creepy. Let's just move this out of the way, you get the idea. But I'll just put that at the bottom there, so you can see that bottom. That's cool, I like that. But it does have a name. Does that mean that's the name of the person that posted it? No, it's the name of the person. Brilliant. Let's copy that. Let's pop that in here. And let's put that in there. Just underneath, slot that in there. That looks nice. And then I can also tab. I can then also copy the name of the photographer. Copy and then paste that underneath as well. Like that. Whoop. Let's tab that across. Oh. My post-it note is playing silly monkeys with me. And then just move that across there. Now, this one in the middle I don't have a name for. That's okay though, because what I can do is I can just put on here that Pinterest artist unknown, and that's fine. That's okay because I've got a little reference in there. I've tried to find the name, but I have been unable to find. Let's just sort this out here. Great. And there's one of our pages. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look up these other words here and see if I can find some. I'm going to create some more mood boards. I would suggest don't over clutter your mood board pages. I mean, you can, put loads and loads and loads of images on here, but then it makes it quite difficult to see them. So I'm going to try and stick to about 3 or 4 images, maximum of 6, I'd say, before I move on. But I am now going to try looking at these other words, and I'm going to make some more mood boards, and I'm going to come back and show you what I've done. Beep, 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 beep.
Okay, so I've printed off my favourite page from my mood board, and I'm going to use this to kind of come up with some more ideas. I'm going to revisit my mind map because my first mind map was quite broad. It had lots of different ideas on it, whereas this one, I want it to be a bit more specific because I really like this word control. I like the idea of controlling an avatar, controlling a character in a game and getting it to do what you want it to do, and maybe the frustrations that come with that. Much like a puppet controlling, like some of these here, you can't quite see, but there are lines on this one. I don't know if you remember from the mood board that I did on the computer. This person has actually got strings holding them up, and I like this idea here, someone actually taking hold of someone. It looks quite dark, it looks quite sinister. I might look at something a bit light-hearted, something with a bit of sense of humour, but for the moment I'm going to focus on this sort of darker aspect of control. So let's move this to one side. And all I'm going to do is create another mind map, but just going to focus around the word control. And like that. Okay, so I'm going to write some words that I associate with this picture here. So let's go. We've got holding, gripping, directing, because she looks like she's been directed, forced, now the sort of character doesn't look very happy about it. I'm not quite sure the words to describe, so I mean, I think holding, gripping, so if you're gripped and forced, so if you're forced, you're going to be hunched over. You're not going to be happy about it. Not happy. What would be a better word? Maybe unhappy would be a better word. Or sad. Holding, gripping, directing. I suppose showing would be a good one here. There. Okay, so now let's look at this image here. So if I just move that, in fact, let's just fold that back. That. And let's put that over that side. So I've got the idea of a puppet. Is that how you spell puppet? Strings. You're sort of danced, sort of dancing, performing. Ooh, that makes me think of performing monkey. You know the phrase, I'm not a performing monkey. And it's quite, I suppose if you are the one doing it, it could be embarrassing. Dancing, strings, performing, embarrassed. Oh no, my spelling. Someone's going to correct me, I'm sure. Oh, this is not quite in shot. Let's move that up. Okay, so that's okay. So, so the puppet. We got hands. And I mean, it's a very delicate thing, isn't it? You've got to be delicate. Okay, and then I've got this image here. So this one. There's a portrait, say. They're being posed. They're posed, positioned. They're being shown, so they're being like displayed. Like an exhibit. And it is a very embarrassing thing to sort of be put up on a platform like that. So yeah, this one on a platform. spotlight. Okay, so I've got a lot more words here. I'm going to just sort of stop the video. I'm going to do a little bit more and speed up and see what else I can come up with and come back to you. Okay, so I've done a little bit more, and I've highlighted my favourite words to me that could make some really interesting photographs, or at least things I want to explore a little bit more. And then this is kind of going to be my final mind map. I'm going to use this to plan all my photo shoots with, and also do my artist research, which is the next video that I'm going to do in this series. So I've got a little mood board. I'm going to probably come back to this and add more to it, but that'll be in the form of artist research. So the initial mood board is done. I've got that, the sort of initial ideas. So the next stage is going to be the artist research. I'll just quickly run through the words I've highlighted and why. So I've got pushing and shoving. I think there could be some good action shots. It could be quite, when you're kind of playing a game on a computer, there's a lot of kind of anger in that, especially if you're trying to get your character to do what you want it to do. How would that look in real life? How much does the character in the game really want to do it? They're being forced to do it. There's that sort of idea of sometimes you invest in a character's well-being. You don't want to see that character die or have any harm done to them. So seeing them sad and hunched over, it kind of almost brings a tear to my eye thinking about Mario crying or something like that. I don't know why I'm laughing. Anyway, moving on. I also like the idea of a character being displayed or exhibited for everyone to see, like they're performing. Makes me think of Twitch, which is a sort of online way of watching people play games. I used to use it before I bought a game. Anyway, I'm digressing. Watching, staring, this could be maybe another idea to do with theatre, and embarrassing and performing. These are good emotions to play with and try and capture in a photograph. And obviously I could probably start with something nice and simple, either doing a direct copy of or being inspired by this puppet image, which sort of seemed to pop up quite a lot. I really, really like that. And I think that's probably where I'm going to start. So I need to get myself a little wooden figure or a figure that I can hang up on strings. But that's good. If you're starting to think of ideas, you're like, I could do this, I could do that. That's a good sign that you're on the right kind of wavelength for this. But I'm going to leave it there. The next step is going to be to do some artist research, because while these ideas are really good, what we do need to do is we do need to sort of think of what other people have done and make sure what we're doing is slightly different in some way. So we're not copying other artists' ideas, but using them to influence our own. So we've got our own ideas, we've got some visual stuff. What have other artists done? What techniques have they used? And how could we use those in our own ideas? So that's it for this mood board. It doesn't look like it, does it? It looks like another mind map. That's it for the mood board. So please, again, send me the stuff that you do. I'd love to give you feedback. I love seeing what you guys produce. And I'll see you in the next video, which will be all about artist research, where we will be looking and creating artist research that looks a little bit like something like this, where we've got a little bit of artist research there. Quickly, Graham, find some artist research. It is just here, I promise. Like this. And I'm going to be talking about what visual, technical, contextual, conceptual ideas mean. Until then, bye! Whoop, 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 whoop.